Warning: the following episode of Orsini's Uncensored Mind contains explicit language and adult content. The thoughts and opinions stated on the show are reflective of AJ Orsini and his guests exclusively. Seriously, guys, the show's called Uncensored. If you got a problem with bad language, I really don't give a shit.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and now your host, AJ Orsini.
How the hell is everybody out there? This is your main man. This is your boy, AJ Orsini, your host of Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and this is episode 51. 51. I have celebrated my 50th episode just last week, and I got the chance to sit down with my boys, the Zoltan, the absolute Chris Cage, the superstar Whiplash. And as a quick update from that, because the boys sat down and we broke a lot of this shit down and started talking about a cage match they had coming up. And that cage match has passed. It went down this Saturday, September 1st. And yes, folks, as predicted, still the longest reigning WXWC4 Tag Team Champions of the world, those old hands. So a big shout out to my boys. Went into their first cage match. A little overwhelmed. If you go and see the footage, they got a little overwhelmed at first, but they walked away with the gold. So congratulations to those guys. I have been on a guest streak, about 4 or 5 straight episodes of guests, and tonight I am riding solo. I am here tonight with you guys to be the host that you all know and love, and we got some stuff to talk about here. I could very easily sit here and throw a dart at the wrestling world and come up with something interesting to talk about. I mean, there's a lot of rumors going around on the web. In case you guys didn't see on Raw, Shawn Michaels and Undertaker had a nice little segment. McIntyre and Ziggler winning the tag titles. Impact Wrestling practically killed a child. There's a lot of things going on in the world of professional wrestling, and normally here in Orsini's Uncensored Mind, I like to dibble and dabble around and talk about all the things that interest me, and yet I had a very specific plan for this show. I figured 51, I'm going to come out swinging, right? I had all these thoughts and plans in my head, and I had this idea that I was going to get raw on you guys and come out here and give you all this shit that was on my chest that I was trying to get loose. And I said 51, man. I made it to 50 episodes. They haven't turned me off yet. As a matter of fact, I've gained stronger and stronger audience base since my first episode. So I figured, episode 1, I pretty much laid down the law of how this show is going to go. And I have stuck to almost none of it. So I figured 51, come out here. It's like renewing your vows, you reassess the landscape. I said episode 1 that a lot of the shit that I was doing was liquid, that I was just going to figure it out and see where my voice is and see where my show was going to be. I have a much better idea at 50. So I had a dead set plan for episode 51. Unfortunately, after all that stuff I just said as big news items, there is only one real news item in the world of professional wrestling that anyone seems to give two shits about. It's the one that the internet's been buzzing about all week, even to this day, even to this very moment. It's the one that everyone's talking about. Of course, it's something that I've discussed on this show about a bajillion times, and we're going to hit it up again here. Of course, we're talking about the big all-in show that took place at the Sears Center Saturday, September 1st in Chicago, Illinois. It's the Super Bowl of indie shows is what it was referred to as. It was the big show, the WrestleMania for those who have not yet made it to the WWE. That's a cheap shot, but it's a real truth. It's the guys who haven't made it to WWE just yet. They got together with a bunch of their friends, had a big old show, had a big old presentation as well. And so the idea is I was going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then I would get into talking about All In. Well, as luck would have it, I kind of want to stick to my 1 hour format, considering it's just me here tonight. It's been a long week, Tuesday night. You guys are going to be hearing this on Wednesday. So I decided after putting all my notes together, and every time I put a note down, it had a subheading, and then it had another sub, and then another sub, and it split it off into another conversation, and split it off into another conversation. So I've made the decision that this is pretty much me going all in on all in. That's what's going to happen here. I'm going all in on all in. I know it's a very confusing title, but it's pretty much the truth. This episode is going to be pretty much talking about all in all the way through. No WWE conversation for those of you out there who have been dying for me to do more independent wrestling shit. This is the episode for you. We're going to be talking indie wrestling on this one. We're going to be talking about all in. We're going to be talking about indie fans. We're going to be talking about indie performers. We're going to hit all the aspects here. I got a bunch of fucking notes sitting in front of me here. Sad note, this isn't my best set of notes. I had a really good formatted set of notes yesterday, and due to a technical difficulty, if you can call it that, they all went away, off into the world and deleted itself, and it was all gone, and I had to rewrite most of it. It's good. It's not as good as it was, but I'm going to make it even better right now on the microphone with you guys, and we're going to have this discussion. This is going to be an adult conversation, and I'm not saying it's an adult conversation because I'm going to be cussing. That's obvious. That's the way this show's been since day one. It's going to be an adult conversation in the sense that you're going to hear some things that you like, you're going to hear some things that you're different on, and you're going to hear some shit that is absolutely you're going to completely disagree with and you're going to hate me for. Either way, pull your big boy underwears up, pick up your big girl panties, and enjoy the ride, because this is going to be a conversation about all in from all aspects. First and foremost, did I enjoy the show? Yes. Hell of a show. Great show, top to bottom. I had a great time watching it. I did not see it live. I had family over in my home. It was also my 15-year anniversary with my wife. We did some things that day. I did not dedicate a day like that to wrestling. I got a chance to see it after the fact. That's why I didn't react to it too much on social media. I wanted to save it so I can sit down and genuinely just fucking watch it all the way through and get the feel and enjoy the show and see where I landed on this shit with no distractions and just pay attention fully to the show. And I did. I was able to watch the show. As a matter of fact, I got to see it with my wife, and I got to see it with my family who was visiting, who were here. So I got some pretty good insight, not just from my own eyes from seeing it, but from people who, like, for instance, my wife, who knows what she's looking at. She's grading it. She's talking to me. We're going back and forth. My mom knows somewhat about wrestling because I grew up watching it, so she knows a little bit about it. She knows a little about the game, but pretty much has no knowledge of any of the fucking people on the show, which is perfect because then it gave me an impression of what someone who does not watch this shit thinks about what the fuck they're watching on the show. And my sister was pretty much knocked out. She was unconscious. So there was 4 people in the room, 3 people watching. It was a happening, as the great gorilla Monsoon would say. So all in. Let's start at the very beginning about this, and let's have some truth serum here for a moment for myself. The first time that I spoke about this, I said that it was a good idea. I just hope that my problem with it is the problem that I had, the same problem I had with Madison Square Garden when we talked about sellout. All in sells out in 26 minutes. All the tickets were sold. Everyone was jumping up and down on their couch, very Tom Cruise-ish, and everybody was just all about the idea that an independent wrestling show could sell out 10,000-seat arena. By the way, it's not 10,000 exactly. It's 10,000 plus. It's somewhere in the 10,300 and something area. But the goal was to fill a 10,000-seat arena at a venue that would be suitable to what they can cater to as far as broadcasting and setting up staging and all that stuff. And they found the perfect building in Sears Center. I didn't know much about the building before they booked it. Having seen it now, it was an excellent venue choice. It was perfect. It looked big. It wasn't just a straight up, like a Hammerstein look. It wasn't just a straight up level building. It was out. It looked like a WWE arena. I know it wasn't as big, but on camera it played big, which is great. So the problem that I had with the fans initially, because my problem was never with the show. I keep having to remind people of that, and I don't know why. Everyone has this feeling like I was shitting on the show. I never once shit on the show. I was shitting on the fans because they were beating their chests, and I was worried that the whole sellout, we sold it out, would hurt the secondary market sales. I don't care if they sold the tickets. I want a butt in the seat. That was a concern of mine. That's why I kept jumping on people. Stop beating your chest and start sharing the links and getting people to buy these tickets through the secondary market so that we can get these people in the building. My concern was getting people in the building. That was my concern. It's still my concern for Madison Square Garden, but it was definitely my concern for this show. I just wanted to see asses in seats. As Jim Ross once said, putting a pair of butt cheeks every 18 inches, which is the weirdest thing anybody could say about butts in inches, but it makes complete sense. Okay? If you really think about it, it makes complete sense. But that was my concern. Having seen the show, I am happy to announce, for those of you who have not seen it, it was full to the brim. There were people on top of people. It was ridiculous. The whole ringside area looked almost WrestleMania-ish because they had the foldable chairs out. Whenever the wrestlers got close to the railing, or it was a very tight entranceway as well. And it was just a very intimate feel. In spite of the fact that it was a large building, it still felt very intimate and tight and together, and everybody was just on top of each other. And it had a really big indie feel to it. It was indie but big. It's hard to explain, but it was nice. So that was my concern about the show. My second concern I had about the show was over budgeting, because Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks, for those of you who are unaware, paid practically out of pocket for just about everything to get this show going. They paid out of pocket. So they're paying for the staging, they're paying for the licensing, they're paying for, apparently they had, I was watching the 0 hour performance, they had a pyro display. I mean, they really went out, and that's just the aspects of it. I mean, we're talking about talent, we're talking about Rey Mysterio, Rey Fenix, Pentagon. I'm just assuming, I don't know for a fact, but I mean, the Kenny Omegas of the world, did they even get paid? I don't know. They're doing favors. I don't know what the situation is, but I mean, Okada. I know Okada got paid. I know he got paid. So there's a lot of logistics here. I mean, this is a money costing expenditure. There's a lot of people who go broke putting on shows at your local VFW. They rented a 10,000 seat arena. You know, so this is a big endeavor. It's huge. They did the 0 hour, which is the pre-show, the first hour on WGN America, which is a channel that some of you may or may not have. I don't know, but it was a cable network station that they were on, and then they went live for 3 hours on Fight TV from about 8 o'clock to 11, and they held themselves very close to that format of pay-per-view format from 8 to 11. They managed to finish 3 seconds before the feed cut. I mean, Ian was still wrapping up the show when they went off air. It was very reminiscent of the original ECW pay-per-view when they barely got to the zeros were on the board. You know, they barely cut it right there. So success. It was a successful show. I was worried about over budgeting. This was a concern of mine before they sold out. I didn't know that they were going to sell out so fast, and I still have my concerns even after the fact that they sold out. But, you know, the beautiful part about the sellout was you didn't have to overdo anything. Normally, promoters tend to panic when the tickets don't move. When the tickets don't move, that's usually when promoters make the mistake. They overstep. They go a little outside the budget because they're trying to make sure that they at least hit, you know, black ink, or at least zero out on this and break even. So the fact that they had to sell out so soon was good news. They didn't have to overcompensate. They had a lot of their friends on there, a lot of people they could afford, and they made a wonderful show out of it. It also eliminated the rumors. There was no need for a CM Punk on this show. As soon as it sold out in 26 minutes, there was no need to overexpend themselves. Did they have access to CM Punk? We don't know. Okay, the things that we do know for certain is that somewhere along the line, and this has been validated, that Ring of Honor has made a proposal to CM Punk. He turned it down. We now know that recently New Japan has made an offer to CM Punk. He's turned it down. I think this guy is for real. He has zero intentions of coming back. I think it was cool. I don't know if anybody got the chance to see some of the footage that people were sharing of Punk at the signing. He did an autograph signing the day before All In Chicago for Pro Wrestling Tees, which, by the way, if you go to prowrestlingtees.com/AJOUM, you can buy yourself the Orsini's Uncensored Mind t-shirt. But enough shilling for me. You can do that right now while you're listening to me. I know the Podbean app can be a background app. You put that in the background, you open up your Explorer there, and you hit that link, and you go ahead and get yourself an Orsini t-shirt there. But Punk was there signing autographs for the Pro Wrestling Tees company, and had a hell of a turnout. For all of you internet people who keep telling me every day that Punk is no longer relevant, he's a joke, and yada, 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 tell that to the hundreds and thousands of people that showed up around the corner and were literally turned away from just seeing him. So there's that. But the over-budgeting I thought was going to be a concern. It was not. They were able to pull this together financially, and I didn't hear anything about a struggle. I didn't hear anything about discomfort. It seemed like all the talent were happy with everything they were paid and given for their show, and given the opportunity to be on it, and all that great stuff. So those were my concerns going in. I voiced them. I caught hell for voicing them, but that's the point of the show. I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to be honest with you here tonight. There's going to be more of that sobering truth that came out the first time around now that we're talking about this. Just as a heads up, as we continue on with this, we're already 16 minutes in, so I'm just going to go ahead and say this now. Nothing that I say tonight will be affecting anything that I am saving up for the MSG show. Anything that I say concerning this show will literally be concerning just this show. Okay? Now, it may seem like copy and paste when I get to the Madison Square Garden show, but just bear with me, because I promise you it won't be the same. Now that I've seen All In, and I've seen what happened, and I know now what can happen, I have a different set of concerns when it comes to Madison Square Garden. I feel a little different. At first, I was putting these two shows together, but now that I've seen All In, now that it exists, now that it has life, I have a completely different vision or idea of what MSG is going to look like come WrestleMania weekend. So we're going to save all that. Okay? Some of the things that I'm going to say tonight, it might make you think, oh, shit, he's probably going to say it again for MSG. And I probably might. So just bear with me on that, okay? So let's talk about, I have three categories of things that I want to talk about, and then I have some notes about the matches themselves. I'm not going match by match. Again, this is not what we do here. I don't do results and all that other stuff. I'm not here to critique somebody else's match. That's not my place to do. But I do have some things that I wanted to comment on that I thought was really awesome, or not so awesome, about the matches that happened. First and foremost, I have three categories. I have things that I was happy with, things that I had problems with, and I definitely have some concerns. Concerns going forward, obviously. I don't have any concerns about a show. The show already happened. But I have some concerns going forward. Let's start with the happy. Let's start with happiness. Let's start on the good foot. Okay? For those of you out there who are literally comparing this show to WrestleMania, I was hearing a lot of people say this show is better than anything the WWE has done in 5 years, easily. If that's how you feel, I can't take it away from you. I'm going to go ahead and give you the W. I don't agree with you, clearly. If you listen to any of my episodes, you know WrestleMania is my end-all be-all. No show on any year, to me, is better than WrestleMania, period. That's me. If you feel differently, I'm going to give you the W, because I'm going to be honest with you. The show was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. It's a pretty good show. It's a really good show. I had a lot of fun watching it. A little long, but again, if I can sit through 7 hours of WrestleMania, 4 hours of this wasn't that bad. So I got a list of things I want to rattle off here. Okay, first of all, show was full. I already spoke about that just a little bit now about my concerns. I loved the way this building looked. It looked awesome. Awesome. Yes, a tad bit on the dark side, but that's fine. It felt like old school wrestling, and I'm going to get to a lot of that here. But this is the beginning of it. It felt really old school, with the spotlight on the ring, not really focusing on the audience. The audience is doing whatever the audience is doing. You shouldn't be looking at the audience. You should be looking at the competitors in the ring. That is old school wrestling. That's the way that it always goes down. You turn down the house lights. You turn up the spotlight. It's all about the competitors in the ring. I know the WWE likes to have the big, bright look and the big feel of the building and the audience reacting and all that other stuff, fine. I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing. I'm a WWE guy, and even I get disturbed by it. I don't like it. I don't really give a shit what the people in the audience are doing. I want to see the fucking guys in the ring compete. And All In did that. There was a lot of focus on the competition, a lot of focus on the in-ring stuff. They had a few backstage little segments and vignettes or whatever, but even those made sense. Kenny doing the promo about Penta before he goes out. Jay Lethal getting the trans slapped on him and getting the Macho Man shades. There's a lot of things that happened, and they sequenced everything, in my opinion, very, very well. And just the way that they went about their business and took it seriously was good. It was nice. I felt like I almost had a sense like I was backstage again, like I was back at a show. You know, I was getting those nerves like I would normally get for WrestleMania. So it was good. Matches delivered. That's one of the biggest things that I think sometimes people take for granted. They see these performers perform these moves every single day, and they really feel like, oh, they make it look so easy. It's second nature to some of these guys. But the fear is, as a promoter, as a booker, the fear is you can do a great match in front of 50 or 100 people at a boys and girls club somewhere and really kill it and be great. You run that same match in front of 10,000 people live on the internet, and for some reason, for some guys, it switches into a completely different direction. It befuddles them. It fucks them completely up. And it ruins their timing, and they're nervous, and their palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. All that stuff takes place, okay? And I started noticing as the show progressed, they were very smart in protecting certain people from that opportunity. It seemed like the least experienced they were in there with the right guys who could protect them, and they have the experience in these big buildings, and they can slow guys down, and they can make them feel at ease. It was all like a lot of these guys have experience in bigger and buildings bigger than this. Obviously, the New Japan guys have been in the Tokyo Dome, and they've wrestled in front of 100,000 people and 70,000 people. You know, Bully Ray, obviously, bigger audiences. Billy Gunn, obviously, bigger audiences. I mean, some of these guys, Tommy Dreamer, some of these guys have been down this road before. The Briscoes have been there before, big arenas. A lot of these guys are very experienced, and they were able to give that calmness to the opponent, and it made for great matches. The matches delivered. My next point actually it fits into this. Matches were booked nearly perfectly. The way that this whole card was set up was brilliant when you think about it. I mean, from a booking perspective, I really enjoyed it. First of all, the Briscoes being the very first match on the card, a lot of people giving All In shit for that because they're like, oh, it's the Briscoes. These guys should be way higher on the card. You're missing the point. The Briscoes are an establishment. They're the foundation of everything that there is in tag team wrestling in the independent wrestling scene. If they're not in the main event, they should be first because they set the tone. You want the leaders of your locker room to set the tone. Okay? Now, Scorpio Sky has been doing this for a long time, but he's no Kazarian and he's no Briscoe brothers. It was the perfect matchup to start the show. It was tag match. They didn't get crazy. It wasn't a street fight. They didn't come off the top rope with 30,000 450s. It was the perfect tempo. And at that point, listen, people have been talking about All In for months. They were ready to have it. As soon as the Being Elite theme played, they pretty much had an orgasm. That first match, they were ready to pop for just about fucking anything. So at least they gave them a match that was very pop-worthy. You know, that's a very good opener. Plus, when you think about it, between that match and the Battle Royal, which was a ton of fun, we'll get to that, that was a perfect pre-show hour. That's probably the best pre-show hour I've ever seen, even for WWE shows. Like, I've never really had that much fun watching a pre-show. It was really, 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 really good. Especially, like exceptionally good. I don't even know how to explain, any further than that. So for everybody giving them shit for the Briscoes, that was perfect. That was a great matchup. Opening with MJF and Matt Cross, obviously an athletic contest, but I think opening up with a guy like MJF, and really because this is when everyone's paying attention. It's All In. this is your opportunity to put your best foot forward and your best talent forward. And maybe MJF doesn't have the experience. I've had a chance to meet him and work with him in the past. He's not very experienced, but he's super talented. He's going to be the guy in the indies for a long time if he doesn't get picked up before that. So making him first may not set the tempo for the show, but it's definitely the first match will have the most eyes on it. Always. That's always how that happens. You have to grab them with the first match. And they had a very solid match. Matt Cross and M-Dog 20 and MJF went up there, had a very solid match, great psychology. It was a very good showcase for this new talent, which, in my opinion, should have been the focus of all of this. It should have been an opportunity for guys you don't normally get to see who are super talented get this chance in front of this really big audience. And they all did a great opportunity. These matches were fantastic. The vibe of the show, my wife actually picked up on it before I did. And she just, again, she knows what she's looking at. She's been with me for literally 15 years since Saturday. She knows this shit like the back of her hand at this point. And all she kept saying the entire time of the show is that this show just feels fun. It just feels like everyone's having a good time in the ring. You don't see the stress on the face of people who have been traveling the last few days, trying to remember a script, trying not to get hurt, but at the same time not trying to hurt the other guy because they've got a like a 7-game homestand here. They got to go from here to Philly to Detroit. None of that shit. These guys all looked refreshed. They had all new gear. Everybody had something special they wanted to show off. This was like WrestleMania to a lot of fucking people. Even the guys running the show. New gear, new entrance. I mean, everything was just tip-top. They took time in every detail of every aspect of this show. And I commend them for that. And the key sentence that my wife said to me, and I needed to repeat it on this show because this is going to be the theme going forward. This is going to be what leads me to my concerns, okay? I have to say this sentence out loud, and I have to give credit to my wife for being the one that said it. I didn't get the vibe they were trying to compete with anyone. They were out there to have a good time, put on a good professional wrestling show. That was it. They didn't need to go out there and say fuck WWE. They didn't do the Alberto Del Rio promo where it was 20 minutes of fuck the other guys. At the end of the show, when the cameras went off, they did a little bit of that, but none of it was on the 4-hour program. None of it. They didn't give a shit about any other show, any other event besides their own. That's it. That was their only concern, entertaining the 10,000 plus people that came that night. That was it. They had no other desire to do anything else. And that I will commend them on. I have to commend them on that because it's about time someone took the opportunity on a big scale to do that. Because it just seems like every nook and cranny of this country is filled with a promoter who doesn't know what he's doing, who wants to be Vince McMahon. The Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes have zero desire to even be promoters. Forget being Vince McMahon. They just wanted to prove a point. Point being that if everyone got off of their ego and off of their ass and did the business the right fucking way, then you can still generate interest, buzz, and this is the most important one, entertainment for the audience without having to do all of the goofy shit. Now, there was one goofy fucking thing on this show, and if you know me, you know where I'm going. But we're not in Bad Town. We're still in Happyville. Let's still talk a little bit about the happy stuff before we get into Bad Town. Because there's one last happy thing that I want to talk about that struck me to my heart, struck me to my core. I am a historian. Okay? I am a historian. I know things about this business that I learned way before I got in. I know championships and promoters and companies, and I mean we're going back to the original UWF days and the Vern Gagne days and the Cowboy Bill Watts days. I mean, we're going down the line here. I got NWA championships in my head. I got a laundry list of useless fucking wrestling knowledge that I will probably be buried with, stuck in my brain for my entire life. So, why am I saying this to you? I have a firm grip on what the NWA Championship used to mean. I get it. For those of you who were not born past the year 2000, I understand what your confusion. Okay? That belt has not meant a whole lot in the last few years. Probably the last, I mean, technically speaking, even in the TNA days, the early TNA days, they really didn't treat it like it really was supposed to be treated. It was basically Jeff Jarrett's personal plaything for many years. But prior to that, say around the 2000 era, I don't know how many of you even know, but Steve Corino was a former NWA heavyweight champion. He held it around the year 2000. See more useless knowledge shit. But everything before that, literally everything before that. I know it's hard for you guys to understand, okay? Because all you guys grew up in WWE. By now, if you think about it, I mean, 2002, right? That was 16 years ago. So there's a good chance that all you know is WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, maybe some ECW because it refuses to die and always comes back and you just see footage everywhere. Maybe some WCW because some of those WCW dinosaurs are still wandering around. But unless you grew up in the era that I grew up in and have access to people who grew up in the era before even me, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship was the pristine championship. It was the greatest championship anywhere in the world. It was such a popular championship that professional boxers and professional mixed martial, well, at the time it wasn't really called mixed martial arts, but I mean karate championships and just sports in general, the Super Bowl winners and World Series champions, like, they looked at the NWA Championship as the premier established heavyweight championship of wrestling. Okay, even the people who had two teeth in their whole head and they say wrestling, you know, that wrestling on that TV, they know that image of the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, the 10 pounds of gold. They remember that image. At one point, it was the premier championship on the planet. Okay? Planet. That championship was defended against the greats in Japan, the greats in the UK, the greats in Australia, the greats in Puerto Rico, the greats all around the world, Canada. I mean, you name it. If there was a wrestling hotbed anywhere on the globe, the NWA championship was defended there and treated as the main event presentation. That's the NWA championship of old. For those of you who don't know, the version that was defended at All In is like its third rendition because it's under new management. It's still a committee, but it's a different committee. There's some different rules going on there. I don't have all the specifics at the moment. We all know Billy Corgan is running the whole thing. We don't know really substantially who's underneath him. But that championship, in my mind, still means something to my heart. And I know it means something to Cody's because his father helped make that championship as relevant as it was. Dusty Rhodes is considered one of the greatest professional wrestling heavyweight champions of all fucking time. And he did that with that belt around his waist. The pictures that you see on WWE.com or on the network, when they show pictures of Dusty, when they do the Dusty Classic, the tag team tournament, and they show all that old footage of Dusty doing the big bionic elbow and all that garbage, you know the belt that he's wearing in that footage? The 10 pounds of gold. He's wearing that belt around his waist. He practically almost bled to death in a brawl with Harley Race and Ric Flair and all of these great legends to defend that championship. So regardless of what your opinion is of the NWA's Heavyweight Championship, to people like myself, and especially to people like Cody Rhodes, That belt means something. So, when this match was booked on All In, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't think Cody would win because the NWA Championship is not beholden onto Cody or the Young Bucks or anyone involved with All In. It's its own entity. I treated it almost like a house show defense. I thought Nick Aldis was going to get the push here. He was going to get the championship. I actually honestly thought in my mind, there's no way this belt changes hands. Yes, the lineage is nice, but I just thought it was a great selling point. Because where does Cody go if he wins the belt? Is he just become an NWA guy at this point? Is he no longer a Ring of Honor performer? Is he no longer a New Japan performer? Is he now New Japan Ring of Honor National Wrestling Alliance? How does that work? I didn't think it was going to happen until it did. Now, say what you want about the match. Some people thought it was boring. Some people thought it was paced poorly. I saw, in my eyes, a traditional NWA World Heavyweight Championship match. I anticipated the pace to drop. I thought it was going to be a textbook, technical matchup between these two guys, and for the most part, it was exactly that. They tried to do the big blade job. I know Cody wanted to do the whole blonde hair with the red blood on it, look that his dad used to have. But the raw emotion of him getting the 1, 2, 3 and them handing him a championship belt, which again, folks, he didn't book himself to be the champion. That's not how that works. Sorry to burst your bubble, but like I said before, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship is decided upon by committee. They can book the match, but that doesn't mean Cody has the power to just render himself champion. Even as the booker, he can say, I'm winning the match. That doesn't mean he's winning the championship. That just means he has to come up with a creative way to either get disqualified, counted out, no contest. He can win the match without winning the championship. They have to choose him to be the champion. And Cody was chosen. So they'll be in the ring, tearing up, bleeding out of his head, and then be handed the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And that raw emotion that you saw, that was fucking real. That's as real and guttural a fucking response to an achievement as you're ever going to fucking see from a guy like Cody Rhodes. It was an amazing moment. Now, again, you can say whatever you want about the match, and I'm not a big Nick Aldis guy. I think he looks like a superstar. He looks like a champion, and I'm sure he's done great things with that championship belt. But you can't tell me that Cody Rhodes won't take that championship to the next level. Because in case you haven't been paying attention to Cody Rhodes' career, that's all he ever does is elevate the situation that he's in. Gimmick after gimmick, belt after belt, time after time, every single fucking time you count Cody Rhodes out, he beats you in the end. He's a Rhodes through and through. Much respect to him for winning that championship and putting on the show that he did. All of you are going to shit on the guy for having a bad match on the show he put together for you, that he paid out of his pocket to put on for you. And it just shows your true colors. So if you're online and you're one of these people that is shitting on this guy, he booked himself to be the champion. That's not how that works. That's an indication of you, once again, not knowing what you're talking about. And me sitting here, getting on this microphone to educate you. He was chosen. That's where the emotion comes from. Believe me, if he would have just sat down and said, I'm going to make myself the champion, you would have saw complete 100% heel mode Cody. Because remember, his Ring of Honor ring was on the line. That was what he put up for, quote-unquote, collateral, since he was no longer the Ring of Honor World Champion. And it still worked itself out. Beautiful moment. He had a very emotional moment. His wife had a very emotional moment to it because I'm sure she knows full well what that meant to her husband. DDP had an emotional moment. Tommy Dreamer. I mean, these are the real deal fucking guys, the real legends, sitting here happy for fucking Cody Rhodes. And Jimbo, in front of his fucking computer, who probably stole somebody else's password and username for Fight TV instead of paying the $12 fucking dollars to see the fucking show, hated the match because it was too old school. Go fuck yourself. That was an amazing moment. If you can't recognize that, that says more about your ignorance than it does about Cody's ability to put on a championship match. Now, I know we're supposed to be in Happyville, but that's my take on that. This is a happy moment. It should have been a happy moment. And anybody who's not happy with it, hey, bro, that's your preference. That's cool. Go over there and kick rocks. The rest of us are all going to be over here and celebrate. And now that I'm already jazzed up on that, let's get into my problems. I hope you guys are enjoying this episode. I know that I am, but I just want to take this minute to remind you guys that as much as you enjoy listening to me on the show, you can also see me on the YouTube channel that I have, AJ Orsini 96 host. You can check out my channel and see actual videos. There's some audio clips, exclusive content that didn't make the episodes that I put onto the YouTube channel, but videos of me ring announcing, calling matches, anything, interviews with some of the biggest stars in the business today that you may not know that I've worked with. I've got all the video evidence there on the YouTube channel, so go check that out. Once again, / AJ Orsini 96 host at YouTube. We're going to start with the most obvious one because most of you people have already been fighting with me on the internet about this, and I'm going to tell you this right now. When it comes to arguing online, I don't do all day. I don't fight all day. I give you the best that I got, and if I can't convince you, fuck it. Because some people would rather just continuously beat their face into a fucking wall than accept the fact that they're being told something that makes reasonable fucking sense and that what they're saying does not. Okay? So, a few weeks ago, when Ronda Rousey won the WWE the Raw Women's Championship, I congratulated her. Real quick, simple tweet. Congratulations at Ronda Rousey for winning the WWE Raw Women's Championship. I do the same fucking tweet for literally everything. When my friends made it to PWI 500, regardless of how you fucking feel about it, it's an achievement to them, right? That's how they feel. So congratulations. All right? Whenever these people I always try to support the brotherhood, support the sisterhood. It doesn't take much effort to just throw a little tweet out or throw a little status out. Hey, congratulations. So I did that. Put a little tweet out. Congratulations, Ronda Rousey. As I'm using my social media to send said message, because I'm doing it live. This was as SummerSlam was going on. I was in Florida when this happened. Okay? I sent it out. And obviously, once you post up, the thing fucking automatically refreshes. And Lord and behold, I have this endless stream of fans pissed off that Ronda Rousey won the Raw Women's Championship because she hasn't, quote, paid her dues. Okay? Ronda Rousey hasn't paid her dues. That's what I was told. So, I made a second status. And the second status read, again, not being specific, but if you're feeling some type of way about the status, if the shoe fits, then you might as well wear it. I wrote, if you find anybody on your feed telling you that Ronda doesn't deserve the championship because she hasn't paid her dues, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That's all the status said. And you would have sworn that I had just uploaded a picture of a small child being flogged and beaten because of the response I got. Not just from the comments, but messages and all kinds of different ways that you can be communicated that I wasn't even aware of. I was getting messages I didn't even know I had messages. They were like in some sort of archived shit. Like I had to accept. It was a weird fucking thing. And I was getting all of these fans. I didn't have one fucking professional have anything to say, either negative or positive, about my comments at all. Fans telling me that I'm crazy and being disrespectful to my own business because I wasn't defending my business against this foreign menace, this UFC person coming in and winning a championship in my business. I should be standing up for pro wrestling, and I should be online right now shitting on this woman because she doesn't deserve it. What makes her deserve it before all these other women who pay their dues and travel and do all this different stuff, and what makes her so different, and why does she get that opportunity after opportunity, debuting at WrestleMania, getting a title shot 2 months in, winning the title 4 months in, right? Why does this woman deserve all this shit? And I had my responses, And I went back and forth, and I said all the usual shit. She's a draw. Of course, she's paid her dues. She's did this. She's done that. Da-da-da-da-da. Right? That was the end of it. I was wrong. That's how that ended. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. All right, buddy. Cool. Cools. So I left it alone. I didn't say shit about it anymore. Then I turn on All In. And the second match on the card pits Christopher Daniels against Stephen Amell. Now, for those of you who don't know, Stephen Amell is the lead actor on the CW hit television show Arrow, where he plays a vigilante from the DC comic world. And he's very good at it. They're on like their 7th season or some shit. Now, I have a lot of positive things to say about Stephen Amell. A, he's an athlete. We've seen him on American Ninja Warrior. He's had a professional wrestling match before. I've personally seen him live. He wrestled at SummerSlam with Neville. I was there for that. Okay? He took it very seriously. He's very respectful of the business. He's a genuine fan. Okay? And he's athletic. This guy is a very humble dude. I understand all that. The all-in connection here is that Cody was the guy that Stephen Amell was working against at SummerSlam, Stardust. They became friends. Cody got a guest spot on Arrow. And now I guess return favor here. Stephen Amell gets an opportunity at All In. And based on everything Christopher Daniels said, he was very awesome. Christopher Daniels was very impressed. He took it very seriously. He took it he took it not just seriously. He took it for real. He took it as a job. It wasn't like a hobby thing for him. He trained. He hit the gym. He hit the ring. He learned his craft. He tried everything he could to be as good as he could be by All In. And if you look at the match, it wasn't a bad match. For someone who really has no general experience being in the ring, he looked a little stiff. Timing was a little off, but he's got no experience. He executed everything as well as he could. He showed some of his athleticism with that Van Terminator. And, of course, the table spot that everyone's talking about. He went out with the elbow drop, straight up, no pussy. He didn't pussy out, came right off the top like a real man takes a table bump. All credit in the world, okay? I think Stephen Amell did an amazing job. I think he was brilliant to be added to this show because he brings more eyes. He brings more buzz. He makes it more of an authentic show. It felt like a WWE move. Now, I know I said earlier that they weren't trying to compete, but they weren't trying to compete. That's a general business decision, okay? We're spending all this money on promotion. That's the kind of move that sells itself, especially if Stephen Amell is kind of doing his own thing and he's not really much of an expenditure financially. It's brilliant. And he didn't even come out alone. He came out with like a co-star from Arrow. It's just nice. The whole thing around was just smart, brilliant. It wasn't that long of a match. Daniels carried him through, made him look like $1 million. It was dope. Having said that, I had to address the hypocrisy in this, because if you're going to tell me that an Olympian, a combat sport legend, a UFC Hall of Famer doesn't deserve to be on the WrestleMania card, forget the championship. We were hearing this bullshit for the debut at WrestleMania. If she doesn't deserve that because she hasn't, quote, paid her dues, then why would the actor who's had maybe, if you even want to count it, one professional wrestling match under his belt have a spot in a one-on-one matchup on the WrestleMania of independent wrestling shows? Why is that not a problem for you? I'm not saying that it should be, but for some reason, Ronda was a problem for you. So I'm trying to find a line of consistency here. Okay, because one of the problems I had with this argument was apparently there was some fans out there who were pitching a fit about this and had no idea what paying dues was. They didn't even know what it was, which I shouldn't be surprised. It's the same people who always say buried all the time. They buried him. Okay, yeah. they buried the WWE champion. That makes sense. Yeah, that line of logic follows. They didn't even know what paying dues was, okay? Ronda Rousey is a world-class athlete, a world-famous superstar, and a well-respected icon in the women's aspect of sports as well. Stephen Amell is an actor, and that's where the list ends. It would make sense that Ronda has paid at least a few more dues than Stephen Amell has. And yet, not one criticism of Stephen Amell, not one tweet about him being shoved into a situation he doesn't deserve. Okay? There were actually people on the edge of their seats. They thought he was going to beat Daniels. That is the epitome of hypocrisy, and I could not resist the urge but to bring that up. And to my surprise, I was not alone in this thought process. I actually got some pretty positive responses from that status. So that was actually a very welcome change. Okay? So I wanted to put that out there. I want that to be food for thought for you guys. That's the situation. That's one of the problems I had. And it's going to be indicative of a lot of different situations going forward. Because it just seems like if they put anybody on a WWE show, it's bullshit. If they put anybody on an indie show that was thrown together by your favorite indie guy, it's just business. What the fuck is the goddamn difference? One is clearly an easier transition. UFC, combat sports to pro wrestling. This guy doesn't even play a pro wrestler on TV. He's an art. He plays a comic book character who defends the city with a bow and arrow. But he is considered okay to transition into pro wrestling against arguably the greatest independent wrestler of all time in Christopher Daniels. No problem. Zero issues. Makes sense to you. Food for thought, gentlemen and ladies who had a problem with Ronda Rousey. Just ponder on that for a bit. Because I got to move on to my next problem. My next problem is penis druids. That's my next problem. I have met Joey Ryan. I have worked with Joey Ryan. I like Joey Ryan. He is a cool bro. Fun to talk to. I'm sure he's a hell of a guy outside of the industry. I've never had a chance to hang out with the guy. But I know in the locker room, he's a cool dude. The dick flip thing, I fucking despise. I've never really had a chance on this show to talk about it. If anything, I think I've gone out of my way to avoid it. Because it's a whole other bag of shit when it comes to conversation. Some of you fucking people just love Joey Ryan's dick to an uncomfortable level. And for me to sit here and criticize it and just open myself up to this dick conversation makes me feel a little weary. So I've been kind of avoiding it. But since you're going to put, since we're talking about being all in on all in, then let's go all the way in and talk about all the shit, all of it from all angles. This was freaking stupid. It's freaking stupid. I don't like the dick flip. I don't like when he dick flips 9 people at once. I don't like when he dick flips people into Canadian destroyers. I don't like when he dick flips. I don't even like the booplex. I don't even like that shit. Just grabbing up girls by their titties and just overheads. I don't understand it. A German suplex from the tits. I don't get it. And believe me, this is not one of those grandpa yelling at the clouds type situations, okay? I'm cool with a lot of modern wrestling shit. I probably more cool than I should be for a lot of shit because it goes against my old school nature, okay? But I open myself up to a lot of different ideas in this business, but I will never open myself up to a dick flip. I'm sorry, I will never be open for dick, ever. It's not going to happen. I don't like the spot, and I've personally seen people decline to do the spot. Okay, I've seen it. So it's not like everyone's in on this. There are some people not okay with the dick flip. Having said that, The story at least made sense. I like the idea of everything they did with Hangman Page, with the boot and everything, and the talking boot and all. It was kind of weird, but it was entertaining. It was good. I liked it. If they would have did, I think the penis druids is really what fucked me up. 8 guys coming out in dick costumes, and a whole room. That was the one that I'm watching this with my mother, and she's like, there's like all dudes in this building, and they're all super excited about these 8 dicks that just walked out here. And this is just normal stuff. This is what the wrestling industry is now. We just got guys coming out here in dick costumes. And whenever we say that, I want to bring up something that, since we're talking about this, I love online when people shit on the idea of the dick stuff. And then fans will retort with all of the old shit WWE used to do back in the day. And they would bring up the choppy my pee-pee and the Katie Vick shit. And they go, well, the WWE's done way worse shit than the dick flip. Right. They have. You're very right about that. They have done things like that 10, 15, 20 years ago. They don't advocate that now. Do you know why they don't do that now? Do you know why we don't do dick flips on Raw? Do you know why we don't do choppy or pee-pee on SmackDown? You know why we don't do these things anymore? Because they're fucking stupid. They're stupid. Stupid people came up with those ideas, and they were desperate, and they needed TV ratings, so they gave it a shot. As soon as they got the ratings back, as soon as they were in a position to be in control of their own creative destiny again, the choppy or pee-pee stuff went away. It was gone. There's a reason for that, folks. It's stupid. It was an idea that they tried. It was dumb. It went away. Joey's not trying the dick flip. Joey is living off of the dick flip. It's what's putting money in his pocket. Now, I would never be one to take money out of somebody's pocket. But I don't have to be a part of that shit either. And I don't have to watch it on my fucking TV screen either. This was possibly a one-flaw show. Top to bottom, I enjoyed this show. The penis shit, I'm sorry. Not a fan. Not a fan. Threw me off. Actually, it took me back to those Attitude Era moments when they used to do stupid shit like that, and I'd be sitting in the room with non-wrestling fans, and I'd have to defend myself because they're like, "You're really watching this goofy shit? It's not like this all the time, you know. There's actually good matches." I felt the same way watching this shit. My mom's watching this shit, and she's like, "Really? 8 dicks just walked out here?" And I'm like, yes, dick flick. I had to explain what the dick flip was to my mother because she hadn't seen it. Imagine having to sit there and have a conversation about a spot where a grown man grabs another grown man by the dick, and the guy who's being groped does a bunch of senseless flexing, which for some reason hurts the man's hand. Physics has yet to figure out how that works. And then by rotating his weight swiftly, can flip bump his opponent. My mother was unimpressed, unamused, and was quickly waiting for this segment to be over because she was also enjoying the show. There were a lot of guys on the show she'd never seen before. She was enjoying it. And then the penises, and her face immediately read, okay, I could do without the penises. And then right back into the cool shit. So, big problem with the penis. Okay, I have a huge problem with penis. If we can understand that out of context, we'll be all right. The only other problem I had was timing. Obviously, the main event was rushed. Everyone knows that. There's controversy as to how that happened. A lot of people point to the Okada Squirrel match. There's other people pointing to other things. The bottom line is you have to allocate that time. I'm sorry. The main event has to have the most time, or if not the most time, there has to be a specific reason why it's not the longest match. Now, I know these guys don't need all that time. They still put on pretty crazy fucking match. I think if they would have had more time, they would have been able to slow it down and tell a better story. I think it would have been an insane match had they had 10 more minutes. I think they went 10 minutes, they said. If they would have given them, I guess you could say 5. But I would have, comfortably really see what they can do. 10. If you would have given them 20 minutes, if you give those 6 guys 20 minutes, ooh, that would have been crazy. That was the match I was looking forward to the most, to be honest with you. Because I know what this show is. It's indie. It's the spot stuff. I'm with it. I was all for it. I was down. Like, normally when I watch a wrestling show, if I get too much of it, it turns me off. But knowing that this was all in, knowing who was running the show, I was prepared for this. I was with it. I was actually genuinely excited. I was like, these 6 guys are going to fucking kill it. You know, there's even that one moment where Ibushi tags in and then Mysterio tags in. And up until that point, I kind of lost focus on the idea that there's so many guys in this matchup. I completely forgot about the possibility of an Ibushi-Mysterio matchup. And I said, oh, shit, it's going to be crazy. And those fuckers went in. And I loved it. I wish they would have had more time. I know they were rushed, and it looked rushed, and it felt rushed. You know, there wasn't a whole lot of selling. They didn't really have time to do that. But it was a dope match. So just timing. I just wish there was more timing. I wish there was more that we could have did with that. Just a couple quick notes on the matches. I do have my concerns. I will get to that in a second. I'm going to close with my concerns here. And just really quickly, I already talked about the Briscoes. The Battle Royal was... I have to talk about the Battle Royal for a second. That Battle Royal was dope. That's one of the best Battle Royals I have ever seen. That was extremely fun. The way they operated that matchup, all these different people, all having their moments to shine, everyone got over. It was really, really good. I love that Battle Royal. It was probably it wasn't the best match of the night, but it was probably my favorite match of the night because it was just so fun. There were so many different things. A lot of Jordan Grace had an amazing showing there. Brian Cage taking the loss to her was amazing. Bully Ray and her having their little confrontation. There was a lot going on in that match, and I loved it. Hurricane doing the choke slam, it was great. The little mini Billy Gunn that was in that matchup, he was awesome. There was a lot of shit going on, man. It was a really good match. I gotta give some credit to the ladies. To the ladies, Madison Rayne, Chelsea Green, Britt Baker, Tessa Blanchard. They went out there and tore it up, man. That was a great fucking match. The biggest compliment I think I came up with in my own head there watching it, they just kept moving, man. There was no dead spots. They treated that like a true 4-way chaos, breaking up pins. I was a little sad when, not sad because she did it, but sad because of what happened after. Chelsea Green did the woo, woo, woo. You know, everyone knows her boyfriend, Zack Ryder. She did the woo, 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 and then immediately got attacked by Britt Baker after, and I thought for sure she was going to hit us with Adam Cole baby, or maybe like a Britt Baker baby, something like that. I thought it was awesome she came out to Adam Cole's Ring of Honor music. I thought that was pretty cool. But I was definitely I was waiting for it, and I said, that would have been dope. That would have been a cool opportunity for that. Hangman Page, Joey Janela. I'm not going to go in order of the matches. I've already spoken about some of those matches already. But the street fight, Joey Janela and Hangman Page lived up to the hype. Definitely a street fight. Big ups to those guys. I've had a long history with Joey Janela, the bad boy. If you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AJ Orsini host, I believe, you can see a lot of stuff that I've done with Joey Janela on that page there. Some ring introductions, some interviews. I've worked with him a few times. Actually, more than a few times. I've worked with him a bunch. I've booked him myself on my shows. I've worked with him at his home fed, Game Changer Wrestling. I've done a lot of shit with Joey Janela. I'm thinking about it, and he had a great opportunity here at All In to really show people what he can do other than falling off of a roof. I know his spring break stuff's been doing well, but this was a huge audience, a huge opportunity, and the brother stepped it up. So congrats to him. Penelope also, his girlfriend, but also very talented lady herself. I've worked with her a few times. She's an amazing talent. She's going to be good, really, really good. Like, she's still young herself too, and she's going to be really, really good. Hangman Page is awesome. It's one of the first times I've really gotten a chance to see him. I've seen a lot of these other guys, even from New Japan. For some reason, I've never really gotten a chance to sit down and really watch Hangman Page here. And I heard he's very young, and he looks it, but he looks very, very fucking good. Very good. I am looking forward to see what happens to him in his career. The Jay Lethal trance, that was awesome. I love the way they did it, the way they sold it, the slap on the shoulder, the sell, everything, and that lethal injection is beautiful. That was the first time my mother had seen it, and that was her favorite move of the night. Besides actually her second favorite. It was her favorite at the moment. And then later on that night, and that's the match I'm going to get to next, Omega and Pentagon did the Fear Factor, that package pile driver on the ring apron, and my mother almost shit a chicken. She thought this nigga was dead. She thought this dude was dead. But he was not dead. Jericho making the surprise at the end. Awesome. I don't know if this goes again, because people were saying, oh, he swore he'd never work for a promotion in the United States. Well, technically he didn't. They're not a promotion. It was a one-off show. It was for promotion for his cruise. I don't know if that breaks his own personal rule, but there's no actual rule that says that he couldn't have done that. And I'm going to end the match stuff with Marty Scurll. Now, Marty Scurll, I have seen before. I've seen his work. I'm familiar with him. I think he's a great talent. I think he's got a great look. But I got to tell you something. If I have to hand the MVP trophy to literally anybody on this show, if I could do like the NBA All-Star Game, if I could bring all the talent out and say, hey, I'm going to give this trophy to the MVP, the guy that I thought really stood out on this whole show, my MVP to this show goes to the villain. Because you want to talk about taking an opportunity, and it was built up really well. Really well. I have been paying attention and following it. The whole junior heavyweight thing and him being pegged as a junior heavyweight. Him not being a fan of that. Wants to move up to the heavyweight division. Here's his chance against the heavyweights in that division. And he stepped up. Marty Scurll did a great job. I'm a huge fan of his work. I appreciate the guy for everything that he is, man. That was an awesome showing. Of course, Okada was Okada. He brought it. He didn't show any fatigue from the flight and all that other stuff. They just did the G1. There were a lot of guys here who really could have been blown up here, and they were not. Okada brought his A game. He looked good. He looked in Okada form. But Marty kept up. Marty went move for move with this guy. That awesome little that variation of the Rainmaker he did on Okada was dope. The finger break counter, everything. This guy was awesome. He was on it. And that was great stuff. Let's get into my concerns real quick, and then we're going to wrap this up. My concerns are very simple. At the end of the show, if you didn't get a chance to hear it at the end of the show, Cody and the Young Bucks got a chance to speak. And while he was speaking, the audience was chanting, all in two, all in two. And Cody had said, normally when you make a gamble and you're successful, it's only natural to go double or nothing. To a huge pop, of course, because, of course, the fans would love to see something like this again. And to be honest with you, I would too. I would too. It was a raging success. There's no question about that. Selling out, the building was full, everyone had fun. I mean, it was the buzz. It's what everybody was talking about. So, double or nothing, I think, would be cool. I think doing another all-in would be a lot of fun. But my pressing concern is they're not a real promotion. And a lot of the people that are around that show are connected to the Young Bucks or connected to Cody Rhodes in a personal way. And I don't know if favors were done. I don't know if people were just being professional, got paid anyway. I don't know how it worked out. But I can tell you this. It was a one-off. And people usually are pretty good with doing favors for one-offs. That's the one time, I'll make the exception. Especially since you set the bar so high. Such a great card. Pentagon and Omega and Okada. And just the list goes on and on of all these top names that you have on this show. To do it again and again and again and again and again, you're going to run into a lot of problems. And that's a concern that I have. All In was not a WWE show. It looked nothing like a WWE show. It felt nothing like a WWE show. Does it make it better? Does it make it worse? That's subjective. It's up to you. I still am a WWE fan. I'll always be a WWE fan, but I loved All In. You know, you can be both, folks. You don't have to be a WWE fanboy or an indie mark. You can be both. It's perfectly fine. It's okay. I loved All In. But my problem is, if you're the Young Bucks, if you're Cody Rhodes, how often do you do these? Because, not for nothing, you're the top talent on the scene right now. You are, quote unquote, the elite. How much time do you really want to spend dedicating to getting all these other people over while you're still the hot item? You know, and you can't do this shit forever. Everyone's been talking about taking the money, go to the WWE, take the money. And that's got to be something that weighs on them. And I know a lot of fans don't want to hear that, but these guys have families. They got kids. If you saw All In, you know they got kids, they got wives, they got mortgages, they got bills. And the WWE contract makes a lot of those bills a lot easier to pay. That's why these guys go. We'd love Omega and the Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes and Hangman and Marty to be the future and to be the leaders against the tyranny and the evil empire of the WWE. But at the end of the day, they've got families. How much time do they really have to spend on that? Not only that, but, I mean, you got a guy like Rey Mysterio. You know, Rey Mysterio lost on this show. He's got a brand to protect. Pentagon is former Impact Wrestling champion. Not former. I think he's still. I don't really follow it, but I think he's still the Lucha Ground champion. He's got a brand to protect. You know, on a one-off show, I think everybody's willing to do business. If we're going to continue to do this, we got to do business right. Eagles are going to start to get involved. People are going to start pointing fingers. Well, you know, the Young Bucks are the bookers. Are they going to continue to put themselves over and over? Is Cody Rhodes going to win all the heavyweight championships on planet Earth on all of the All In shows? What's going to happen here? Double or nothing becomes a very dangerous endeavor. You know, be careful what you wish for. You know, you run the risk of becoming too big. You know, this is already a very big start for any company. No other wrestling company outside of the territorial days has come close to this before. I said this the first time they sold out. Every single talent that is on that card has been on an indie wrestling show and has never drawn this many people. Young Bucks included. Cody included. On an indie show, no one's ever drawn this much straight out of pocket. No one. It's never been done. So now that we've seen it done, how do you maintain that? You don't. You don't maintain that. That's the answer to that question. You can't keep coming out of pocket for shows like this. You will quickly go broke. That's why so many promoters don't make it. They're continuously feeding the beast until they burn out all their cash, and then all of a sudden, there's nothing left. You have to subsidize. You have to find collateral. You have to find different revenues for income in order to sustain your business. You know what that means? Sponsorship. Sponsorship is a big way. We saw a couple of sponsors on the ring apron, TGI Fridays, obviously Pro Wrestling Tees. Those are safe bets. But as you progress, you're going to need bigger ball player advertisements. You're going to need bigger ball player sponsors. And you know what sponsors tend to not like? Women getting beat up in battle royals. They tend to not like guys bleeding on their program. They kind of tend to not like cursing. There's a lot of things that happens on these shows sponsors will not like. And you know what ends up happening when they change these things? They become Raw and SmackDown. They become, in the success of what you want, they become what they hate. That's what ends up happening. If it stays a niche, if it stays your pro wrestling, then you're good. The problem is that's not a long-term solution. All indie companies at that level fold. In order to expand out and consistently stay open to that degree, you need to branch out financially, which means bringing other people in with their money, and other people have different ideas on how a company should be run. And that's how the WWE got to where they are today. You don't think the WWE realistically, honestly knows how to put on a wrestling show? Of course they do. They can't. Snickers won't let them do that shit. That's why. You're wondering why we don't have bra and panties matches anymore. If you want bra and panty matches back, if you want Inferno matches back, if you want all that nasty shit back, go call Stacker 2, tell them to come back and put money on the wood. Until then, Coca-Cola ain't playing that shit. They don't want that garbage on there. Eric Bischoff said it the best. You serve way too many masters. When your income and your budget is that big and you're expanding out that far, you serve too many masters. Not just financially, but even the fan base is huge. You're trying to make everybody happy, trying to offend as the least amount of people as you possibly can. That's what All In will become if it becomes too big. If it stays what it is, that's fine. But if you want to consistently stay in 10,000-seat arenas, you're going to have to find a different way to do that. A lot of people flew into All In because they wanted to say fuck you to the WWE. And that's a fact. Because you bought tickets to All In before you knew what the card was. So don't tell me somebody on the card drew you. What, the Young Bucks? You knew the Young Bucks were going to be on the card. You knew Cody Bucks. So you flew from Ireland to watch the Young Bucks in Chicago when you could have very easily have done that same thing to see them at Ring of Honor in New York as a cheaper flight. Or you could have went to California and seen them. You could have went to Florida and seen them. You could have gone anywhere you want to see the Young Bucks. You didn't have to go to All In to see the Young Bucks. You went to All In to say fuck you to the WWE, which is cute the first time around. But are these people going to keep flying over? Are they going to keep filling these $10,000 seat arenas based on fuck the WWE? Time will tell. So those are just some pressing concerns that I have. You have to be careful with these things. You want evidence of what happens? Because I got evidence that just popped into my head right now. I've got evidence. ECW. Learn your history, folks, or you'll be doomed to repeat it. You will be doomed to repeat it. Remember ECW? Not the old ECW. The one that ran in those bingo halls. No. I'll take you to ECW One Night Stand 2005. In my opinion, one of the greatest pay-per-views I've ever witnessed in my life. But I took that personal journey with ECW. That's why it means so much to me. But that was the last true ECW show. Ran by Paul Heyman, ran by the talent. It was a nice farewell, a nice swan song. It was perfect. It was All In. Then there was ECW One Night Stand 2006. Same thing happened. One Night Stand took place in 2005. The fans buzzed. They said, this is the greatest show I've ever seen. It's better than the WWE. It's better than WrestleMania. It's better than anything the WWE does. All the shit that you guys are saying now about All In, we said about ECW in 2005. Oh, it's not dead. It's still great. It still has a fan base. It's still a better wrestling product. It still has better talent. It's still, fuck Vince McMahon. He doesn't know how to do a fucking wrestling show. Paul Heyman still got it. Right? And then we clamored. We want more of this shit. I want ECW back. So the WWE said, sure, we're going to bring ECW back. And we're going to kick it off at ECW One Night Stand 2006. And don't listen to anybody who tells you any otherwise because they're full of shit. But June 2006, the world was buzzing. The pro wrestling business was fucking hyped. ECW back on the Sci-Fi is going to be on the not back on the Sci-Fi, but back on TV on the Sci-Fi network with Paul Heyman at the helm. This is going to be dope. This is going to be awesome. And then we turned on the pay-per-view and we saw the fucking Zombie. And we saw Sandman came out to some bullshit song no one had ever heard of before. I like the song personally, but it don't fit Sandman. I didn't like it on Sandman. I just like the song. And then the television show started up. And I'm sorry. It went all downhill. I just messed up too. The Zombie came out. Now that I remember, the Zombie debuted on the first television show. Eugene. There it is. Eugene was on the pay-per-view. Be careful what you wish for. You are a wrestling fan. You love your wrestling. I suggest you continue to love your wrestling. Love it. Enjoy it. Embrace it. Hug it. And wish for its success. Always do that. Support your local indie. Always wish for success. Just know that the more successful it becomes, the less yours it becomes. When you're sitting in a room with 200 people watching your local indie, it feels like you're part of the show. It feels like yours. But the more people that love it, that 200 becomes 20,000. When that 20,000's there, that 200 that loved it, they now hate it. It's pop culture. It's for everybody now. I don't want it to be for everybody. I want it to be for me. It's mine. And they start to resent it. That's all I'm saying. This is historically been proven. It happens all the time. You are with the company on its rise up, and then once it gets there, it just wanes a little bit. So just be careful. That's all I'm saying. You had a good thing in All In. Take it. Take the W. Take the win. You have another big show coming up, Ring of Honor New Japan. The G1 Climax will be taking place at Madison Square Garden, going against TakeOver, WrestleMania weekend. There's a lot of great shit coming up. Enjoy the win. Take it. Flaunt it. But just be careful what you wish for. Be careful. Okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this show. I hope you guys enjoyed All In. If you have any comments, if you have any disagreements, agreements, anything you'd like to comment about the show, about my take on All In, please feel free. Email me, ajorsini96host@gmail.com. I have a bunch of different platforms you can catch the show on if you're listening to the Podbean app or on the website at ajoum.podbean.com. You can catch me on a bunch of other places, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn, Listen Notes, CastBox. I'm on a bunch of different shit. Google the show. It's the fastest way to find out all that stuff. I'll have the listing below here in the description. But I just found out recently Googling the show is just as easy. You'll find all this shit that I'm on. Thank you guys for the support. And buy the t-shirt, guys. prowrestlingtees.com/AJOUM. Buy the t-shirt. Support the show, please. It helps and it goes a long way. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, please, feedback. I love feedback. I love going back and forth. I love conversations. So let's have it, all right? Thank you for downloading. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for listening. And, of course, thank you for enjoying. Hey, you. Yeah, you. The one listening to this show. What shirt are you wearing? It doesn't matter. It's trash. It's a terrible shirt. You should tear it off right now and be ashamed of yourself. You need to go buy my shirt, AJ Orsini shirt, the official Orsini's Uncensored Mind t-shirt. How can you get this shirt? I'm glad you asked, you big dummy. All you need to do is go to prowrestlingtees.com/AJOUM and buy the shirt. It's gray with a good logo on it. It's a beautiful thing. You need to buy it for yourself and your family and your friends. Stocking stuffers, under the tree. I don't care what you do. You can wash your car with it. You can use it as a bookmark. It's a dumb bookmark, but you can use it as a bookmark. I don't care what you do with it. If you're Spanish, you can tear it to pieces and clean your house with it like you always do with those other rags. Maybe you could update your stuff. I don't care what you do it for. Buy the shirt. prowrestlingtees.com/AJOUM.
Anyway, house. Listen to my daddy so. Orsini is mine.